Now we move on to page 10, which is the lumber rack assembly. And if you look at that page, you're going to see a couple templates at the top. And what you're going to end up building, if you see the little rack on the left, you're going to build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those, and then string your long stringers through it, and then across stringers. It's straightforward. It's not too hard. If you're going to stain this material, you want to stain this lumber first before you build the racks, and then put it together. We supply you with some of the lumber that goes on the racks. You don't want to stain that lumber because that would be raw lumber. If you have extra lumber as you're working on the kit, once you're done, you can actually add it to the rack later, or add some more if you'd like to make it more full on the racks.
But you understand there are 2 racks on this,
right.
one for each of the 2 levels of the...
Yeah, one for the top level, one for the bottom level. Moving on to page 11, and it shows our cut sheets on for the lumber shed itself. Same thing on number 12. It shows the floor pieces. Make sure they get in order. Take a look at them. Make sure you stain the floor pieces before you put them in, because it's hard to stain them afterwards.
Is that LS19?
Yes, LS19. Stain those first. And then you have LS11, which is your brick. And you want to treat it the way we normally do, with some white glue and water both sides. And then paint your brick before you put it in, because you're not going to be able to paint it later. Now we go to page 13, and that shows the templates for your front and back timber framing of the shed. If you take a look on that page, it gives you 5 or 6 tips on how to assemble this piece. And then at the bottom it shows you the different colors for the different size strip wood. So take a look at those tips before you start in. And remember, you want to find something soft to put it on that you can push pins in. Use your pins to line it up and get it all straight. Again, if you're going to stain your wood, you want to pre-stain all your wood before you start building the racks. Now if we move on to page 14, you're going to look at 2 templates on the top. What we're going to build off those 2 templates are just the pieces of wood that go between the 2 verticals, the front vertical and the back vertical. So we're going to take the pieces that connect the front to the back framing, and we're going to cut those out, and we're going to assemble them according to the picture at the bottom. And that's going to give us all our timber framing for the whole shed. Yeah, while you're putting your shed together, your framing for the shed together, you want to make sure you kind of reference the drawing on the bottom of page 14. That'll show you how you want to get it all put together. You want to get it square, and there's a couple of instructions there you want to read about adding things later. But you want to make sure that you go by that template on the bottom, that diagram that shows you how to put it together. Now we're going to move on to page 15, and this is the base of the building. We have the cutout pieces for the base that go together, and then your floor for the first floor, and how to put your floor joists in. Make sure they go in right, in the right order. Check the numbers and look at them, because you can get them in wrong and they don't fit quite right because they lock together. So make sure of that. Keep referencing that piece of the drawing at the bottom of the page. It'll show you. And as soon as you get your framing attached to your base, you want to make sure that you put your rack in first, so you can get your racks in without them kind of wiggling them through to get them in. It's much easier that way. Pre-staining a lot of the lumber is a prerequisite in most of this kit. Then we move on to the next page, and that we're going to move up 1 floor. We're going to do the next story up, and it's going to show us how to put the floor joists in and our floor, and make sure you have the roof access in the right end. I didn't. I got it wrong, but it looks all right. Keep referencing your pictures here. Then you're going to add the 2 end walls, which are cut out off your laser cut, stud-wise, and you're going to fit them in to the angle piece, the end pieces, and then you're going to add your diagonal braces. And those are the diagonal braces that go up here like that on the ends. And once that's complete, the basic framing of the shed is complete except for the roof. And then we'll go on to that next. Now we're going to move on to page number 17, and we're going to work on the roof. And you're going to see a bunch of little triangular pieces that have little notches in them, and they're there to hold the stringers for the roof. The thing that you want to make sure you do is the ones that are on the ends need to be flush with the edge of the wood, and the ones in the middle, the first 3 middle ones, they need to be in the center of the stringers. just makes it easier when you go to put on your ends. Again, if you want, pre-stain it. Then you're going to frame out your doors. Shows you in the picture. Go right by that thing. And then you've got the same type of roof rafter tails that we normally do with the combs. You're going to lay them right on just according to the picture, front and rear. And those are pretty self-explanatory. Just lay them in one behind the other. There's a couple pieces in the center you want the back support. You want to put those in. It'll show you in the picture. Make sure that it shows you to be flush with the edges like it shows in the pictures. Keep using your the drawings to go back for reference because that really helps you a lot. The next part you're going to do is put your doors in on the ends. It shows you you can put the doors in open, you can put the doors in closed. It all depends what you want. If you want the doors in a multiple color, you want to paint your overlays first and then stain your back in that fashion. And then install your doors. It shows the ladder and the guardrails on the inside. They're much easier to do now before you start getting too much stuff onto the outside of the building. The end two walls we did with individual boards. They're laser cut boards, so they're going to come in a sheet. You're going to do your staining on those, and then you're going to cut them to fit right on either end, just like you would board up a regular wall. Add your nail holes if you want, or weather them if you want. It's up to you. Just you want to get them stained before you put them on. And then you're going to add the two back frames, which have railings on them that show a small ladder type piece on the front to give it some dimension, and then a back plank. If you're going to do double-sided on this one, you might eliminate those pieces. That's up to you, depending on how you're going to lay it out on your train layout or diorama.
Jack, I got to ask you, in the photo on the bottom of page 19, exactly. Now you built this. Did you use those ladder racks?
Yes, they're on the inside.
So they face the
Yeah, they face in.
So they're actually interior framing of sorts.
Yeah. You could do either way. If you want to put them on the outside, you can put them on the outside. If you want to put them on the inside, you can put them on the inside. If you're going to have access both sides, you can leave them off. That's up to you.
Okay, great.
Right. Okay, one of the last things we're going to do to clean up the ends of the the wood shed, I'm sorry, the tool shed, we need to discuss what we did on the roof. We used our tar paper, which comes in sheets. You peel it off, lay it down in strips. You're going to cut a small piece to go over the cap of the roof. And we added some strip wood for hold downs on it and did a little weathering. We forgot to give you any information on that, on how we put the tar paper on the roof, but if you listen to this video, then you'll get the information you need. And then the last thing on the woodshed is the detail on the very end. We need to add the hoist bracket, the little balcony floor, and then the loading dock that's on the end. Again, these are pre-stained before you put them on. It's much easier to do it that way. And that completes the woodshed, and now we're going to move on to the hidden side shed.